person, so I like listening to other people's conversations to give myself the illusion of having friends. So I was listening to these two women the other day, and one of them was saying to the other, you know Tanya, you know, blonde Tanya, you know. And then she came out with the most concise and informative description I think I've ever heard. She said, you know Tanya, you know, punched her mum in the face. Now that's all you need to know about Tanya, okay? She's no mystery, no more questions for Tanya. It's like saying, this is Johnny, he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Or this is Bob, he collects children's hands. But genuinely, I do find it quite difficult to make friends. It seems that social awkwardness and misanthropy aren't considered hip anymore. Apparently neither is the word hip. But I do things, I have hobbies. If you count sitting on my floor eating cherry bakewells till I feel a bit sick, then thinking about death and violently weeping. It's hobbies, and I have hobbies. I'm a student as well, obviously, so that means that the last few years I've had to live in houses with people that I don't really know. That's a little bit unfair on them. They started out as strangers, and now they're my enemies. But we have banter in the flat, of course. What student flat would be complete without banter? For instance, my flatmate Toby once ate an entire loaf of my bread in one day. Now, not only was this a clear affront to the unwritten rules of cohabitation, but also to the written rules, which I'd so clearly laid out and displayed. So when I came down for the tasty midnight sandwich I had planned, I was confronted by naught but crumbs, which led to the 6 hours of desperate and wretched sobbing, followed by the subsequent 39 hours of staring blankly at the standby light on my TV in what turned out to be an ineffectual attempt to make global warming that little bit worse. But I wanted to deal with this rationally, you know. This was a time for banter, not psychosis. I'd learned that the hard way. So the next time little Toby came home with a fresh new loaf of Mighty White, the bread for racists, I stole his bread, and I took out each individual slice, and I laminated every single one of those yeasty little bastards. Keeps the freshness in. Banter. But basically what that means is that communication within our flat is broken down somewhat. So that's why at the end of last year I was walking around my campus to find a poster advertising a party at my house. Now, I had no idea about this. I don't even like parties. I don't really understand dancing. Apparently using your own tears as lubricant while you masturbate isn't technically dancing. It was either that or asking everyone to cry into a jar for me, which made everyone so uncomfortable. Got me my reputation and the nickname, the tearjerker. Funny because it's true. So the idea of a party at my house scares the shit out of me, especially if the poster for said party contains two horrific words: all welcome. So I thought, fine, you know, two can play at that. Party in my room, no one welcome. It's a party for one. It consists of an Asda ready meal, a bottle of Bucks Fizz, and the 1946 German film Kannst du essen meine Nadelstrudel. And some people call me pretentious. I know they do. I've had them through the walls, but those people are idiots and they're Philistines. They'd rather watch I'm a Celebrity shit on my face than explore the early work of Hans von Donnersmarck. So their ill-tempered barbs flop against me like flaccid arrows. Pretension? I bid you adieu, sir. So, it's the night of the party. Everyone's having a good time, they're laughing and drinking, they're calling each other babe and baby. Now, if you call someone baby, they better be covered in placenta. It's literally the only excuse I'm willing to accept. But eventually everyone gets a bit tired, you know, they just want somewhere to calm down and relax. So they seek out the one room, which is peaceful and quiet. But that's my room. So the party engulfs my space and becomes one with it. Soon I have idiots screaming and rotting and spilling all over my floor, and I just lost it, you know? I flipped out. I stewed for about 3 hours. I'm not a psycho. I waited and I planned, meticulously. And then, when they were all asleep, I crept out and I painted all of their faces like clowns. But sad clowns, with a single tear to signify their meaningless existence and soul-crushing anxieties, masked by their outward brightness and lust for life. And you see that? That's an insult wrapped in a metaphor. Pretension? Welcome back, old friend. But obviously I had to paint my own face as well so they wouldn't know it was me. And then when I got up in the morning, they were all stood around, looking at what I'd written. And they thought it was some kind of joke, missing my message completely. Only I knew the real meaning of their faces, and every time I looked at one of them, I was just reminded of my own failings and inadequacies. So the next night, I wrote, "I hate all of you for individual reasons" on the walls. I know what you're thinking, a bit blunt, not your usual wit or verb, but I think I made my point. But obviously I had to write all over my own walls as well, so they wouldn't know it was me. And then, in the morning, when I got up, they were all stood around, looking at what I'd written. And I thought maybe, finally, they'd understood. But they all thought it was a brilliant piece of provocative and Banksy-esque graffiti, and drank boxed wine and discussed it at length. While I sat alone in my room, making lists of individual reasons for hating them, which were eventually dwarfed by the list I inevitably had to make about myself. I had to move out of that house in the end. Well, once I punched all of their mums, there wasn't really much else left to do. Thank you for the pity. I'm Nicholas Cooke. Cheers.